outlets, we see that there is a sign of a large scale of killing of the protesters in Iran. Dozens of bodies have been 2 days ago transferred by the Islamic Republic security forces to the it's the policy of this regime, always accusing others. When people are trying to come out, to come to the streets and race for their rights, they always start to say, yes, there is a foreign countries, US, Israel, European countries, they are behind these demonstrations. Well, it's exactly been 4 days that I send them every day text message, and there is no internet, and I don't know.
Protests have engulfed the entire country of Iran. What's really happening on the ground? There are many who are watching from outside, Iranians who are looking at what is happening, developments there. They have families there. To discuss this and more, I'm being joined by an investigative journalist, Truske Sadeghi. She is joining me from Paris. Truske, thank you so much for joining me. Let's begin with what's happening on the ground. You've been watching and monitoring the situation in Iran very closely. You have family, friends there. Tell me how you're looking at these protests.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Actually, you know that it's been for 4 days that the internet completely shut down, and despite this blackout, the images that leak out to these social media, to some Iranian TV channels and the websites, international, the media outlets, we see that there is a sign of a large scale of killing of the protesters in Iran. Dozens of bodies have been 2 days ago transferred by the Islamic Republic security forces to the Kahrizak legal medicine organization in Tehran. It was so heartbreaking images. Actually, we are witnessing also to the serious killing in the Kermanshah and also in Ilan. These are the two Kurdish provinces in the Kurdish region inside Iran that I'm talking about. And also because of the internet shutdown, unfortunately, the information is not, that's the big problem that right now we have, is not coming out. And, the real scale of what's going on right now, what's happening in the ground became a big problem for so many journalists like us. And it remains unknown, unfortunately. Also, many people are deeply worried about the situation inside. It's really critical. Almost all of our family members, all of us, we have someone that for sure participating in the demonstrations, and we don't know what's going on there, how is their situation. Right. And this lack of access to the information became a very big problem for us, and also for the all the human rights organizations around the world also.
Right. Truske, the foreign minister of Iran addressed the country and spoke to some of the media persons there. He's accused America and Mossad of fomenting trouble. So has the supreme leader. What's your take on how much of an external hand is there in these protests?
It's the policy of this regime, always accusing others. When people are trying to come out, to come to the streets and race for their rights, they always start to say, yes, there is a foreign countries, US, Israel, European countries, they are behind these demonstrations. It's a failed policy. The problem is that these protesters, for the regime, I say, these protesters is a continuation of the protesters of previous years. In many times, in different years, in different states, in this different period of time during 4 decades ago, people tried to come out and say no to the regime's policy, but they always they use all their forces for suppression. That was that's the problem big problem that we have. Also, the important point is that despite this current economical situation, the problems that people have inside Iran, the political situation, the high average of suppression, the big amount of violation that the regime use against the people thinks that they have nothing to lose again anymore, and all of them are in the streets, and they are calling for their rights. They are calling for dignity, for democracy, for freedom. It's very important for all the media outlets, I think. We know this regime, and we should never believe their statements. If it was like that, just one time, we never seen in history, saying that when people are in the streets and regime doesn't use, because the regime has lots of fear for the demands, for the callings of the people, so it use all its forces to, for suppression, for controlling. But no, we are disagree. It's really fake and fake statements that come from the regime itself.
Okay, but there is a statement that has come from President Trump, Truske, and that is very clear that if these protests continue and if the action by the regime continues, then they might go ahead and attack Iran. What would you say to that? Is that something that will bring in more chaos, or is it something that could change how Iran would be tomorrow? Because it would lead to a loss of life, damage to property of not just the regime, but also of civilians.
Look, it's been more than 4 decades that regime is killing people in different forms by hanging them. This regime has no respect for doesn't believe the human rights. We have lots of experience in protests in Iran. In 2019, no one supports Iranian people. In 2022, hundreds of protesters killed, no one support them. And right now, we also see that many protesters are in the streets peacefully, unarmed. They are calling for their rights, and regime is using all its forces to kill them, all its weapons, or its security forces to kill them. Even this regime is trying to use its proxies in Iraq, in the Hezbollah, for suppression the rights of people in Iran. So the problem was always for the Iranian people that no one helped them, support them. The Europeans, especially countries, were always believing on their benefits with this regime. During 2022, the main demand of all the people in Iran, without any difference, all of them was that please, they asked the European countries to put IRGC in the terrorism list, but they never did it. So what, for now, I'm talking about now, what US president says, it's like a promise. He made a promise, and we believe that they should stay on their promise.
You think these protests are larger than the Mahsa Amini protests, Women Life Freedom?
Look, the problem is that, as I told you before, we don't have direct information, direct contact with the people because of the internet shutdown. But it's not less than that. It became now 3 weeks that people are in the streets. The few footages, even from last night, that leaked out, shows that people in capital, or especially they were in the streets. And this is the important point. And with this kind of continuation, it shows that we are not talking about how much it's big or how much it's small. We are talking about a regime that that control people, that never allow them to come in the streets and call for their rights. But the people are, even in small group or big group, trying to come in the streets and call for their rights. So here the the amount of the people or the ratio of the people or a range of the demonstration is not the main point. The main point is that in different all these years during the last the last 10 years, we see every 2 or 3 years people are coming out in the streets. It means that this regime, the people want this regime go. People do not want violation. People are not the face and the reality of the thinking and belief of people in Iran is not what Iran regime shows in Middle East or across all the world.
Truske, then there have been some videos that we saw, not of the protests, but of some streets being named after President Trump. And a lot of people are calling it an act, or it's a political act, not an act of resistance alone, but also a political act wherein a foreign leader's name is being put, in a street. What do you have to say to that? Because at the end of the day, a country that America has intervened in, and I'm only talking about history, has never done well for itself.
Look, for Iranian people, without any difference, I'm speaking here. We see that what they believe in having a normal relation, a political relation, economical relation with the Western countries, with all, even Arabic countries, we see that the problem is that, I want to say that the Islamic Republic of Iran always trying to, was a regime that were seeking for problem. A regime that tried to interfere the internal policy or situation of the countries in region. So what their history in Syria, their history in Lebanon, their history in suppression 2019 protesters in Iraq, what the leader of IRGC did, Qasem Soleimani in Iraq. I was a journalist. I was there at that time in Iraq, and I was following those cases, all those activists and journalists that they have been directly killed by the groups, proxies that they were, that they are right now working with IRGC. So when regime is trying to always seeking a problem with in its relation, political relation, economical relation, cultural relation with the other countries, it shows that the people inside are not thinking, are not believing same as the regime, the power, the state. So when the people are, for example, raising the name of Trump or someone else, it means that we are a people that we believe in having a peaceful relationship with everyone. Well, it can be, yes, a message to the Western countries and to the Americans that we need your help right now at this time. But out of that, it's very normal. If, for example, in all the countries, there is a number of the population of the citizens have a desire to, for example, a culture of a country, a policy of the country. But inside Iran, it's all coming from a kind of demand, a kind of requesting, a kind of, help, a kind of support.
Truske, do you have family in Iran?
Yes.
Do you still have family members?
Right? Yeah.
And you've not been able to speak to them at all?
Well, it's exactly been 4 days that I send them every day text message, and there is no internet, and I don't know what's going on there actually. And we are all worried about the situation of our beloved one.
That's a frightful scenario, to not be able to connect with your family. But we're only hoping that that things normalize in the country, and you all deserve the kind of freedom that you've been aspiring for. On that note, Truske Sadeghi, Thank you so much for joining us, and hoping that you are able to connect with your family sooner than later.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.